Turning in the card on Jalyn Holmes in the 2018 NFL Draft, Ohio State defensive lineman. We've written down on these cards where we would pick him. Let's turn in the cards and see who gets Jalyn Holmes. Turn him in. Hey!
I got a guy.
Landis.
I have him in the 4th round, number 102 to Tampa, which is where Doug actually took TYQUAN Lewis. And I think, if we want to talk about the fit for the team for a second, I think they're very similar. Just a team where he doesn't have to go in and play right away. But I think I've long been very high on Jalyn Holmes, and I think he is like the quintessential going to be a much better pro than he was college player. Now, I know his testing numbers are probably a little worse than maybe we thought they would be, but I think there is something, just some guys, you know, like when they start playing, they're a different kind of athlete. I think Jalyn Holmes sort of fits that mold. I think he can play inside and outside, maybe more of a fit for a 3-4 than it would be in a 4-3, but I think I do think it's rare to come across a guy who, when he gets to the pros, you like project how he could develop some more. But I think Jalyn Holmes is going to be like a developmental pro who 2 or 3 years down the line can be a starter for you in a productive one.
I was ready to fall in love with Jalyn Holmes in the draft process, but Tim, what were his testing numbers?
Testing numbers not very good compared to Hubbard and Lewis, excuse me, 21.8 percentile, but that's among edge rushers. I'm sure it'd be much higher if you put him against strictly down linemen, which I think Jalyn Holmes best projects at. I don't see him as a 3-4 outside linebacker.
No.
He'd be edge guy in either system, or you could slide him in defensive tackle in specific situations. That's why I had him going 120th to the Seattle Seahawks. They have a needed defensive line after trading Michael Bennett away. I know the Seahawks go for guys who test highly, and Jalyn Holmes did not do that. But Jalyn Holmes' productivity, his production was low, being the 4th guy in Ohio State's defensive line rotation. But he did himself a ton of favors at the Senior Bowl, had a fantastic week. He was one of the best players in the game. And his scheme versatility should help a Seattle team that needs to reload on defense. You know, they've let some guys go. You want to get some ferocity up front again, and having a guy who can pass rush both from the edge and from the interior could be pretty valuable for Pete Carroll's defense.
The 4th round goes from pick number 101 to pick number 137. So Bill had him as the 2nd pick of the 4th round. I have him as the last pick of the 4th round, number 137 to Dallas. It just seems like he's going to play inside. He didn't look as athletic to me at Pro Day. I thought he looked quite a bit less athletic in the drills than TYQUAN Lewis, who I think is a comparable guy. Sam Hubbard's just a different kind of player, but I think Holmes and Lewis are comparable, but Jalyn's like 20 pounds heavier, I think, right now. It just feels like he's sort of like building up to be an inside guy. He wound up playing inside when Ohio State had a need when Draymond Jones was hurt, and now it feels like maybe that's where his future is. I was ready to fall in love with Jalyn Holmes in the draft process. I love Jalyn Holmes. I thought he did things that were underrated at Ohio State. I think he's a great guy. I thought he might test crazy and be like a 2nd-round pick. And that didn't happen. So I'm curious. I think fit's going to matter for him. I think he could be a guy, like you said, who becomes a borderline star in the NFL. I just don't know if he showed enough right now to go really high. I am at the end of the 4th. If he fell to the 5th, just because he's kind of like in between an edge guy and an interior guy, I wouldn't be shocked, but I think he'll be a good pro.